Alright, so here I am outside my garage. I'm going to show you how to be successful in life. Unlike some people, this little ride is green, it's energy efficient, and it's just flexing your muscles. If that's all it takes to be successful, I can do that. Anyway, it's not even mine. my friend left it here, so I'm not even that cool. I have my own ride. Anyway, I'm in my shop. My shop's like 1,400 square feet. It's probably bigger than some of your houses, but you know, it's a shop. It's not pretty. I don't even have drywall or anything, but just got some animal stuff in here. And I got the beast, the big smoker. And then we're going to talk about Tai Lopez. I know things about people. We're going to share that with you. So, quick tour. So this guy here is the beast. This here is just a big smoker. It looks like a train. Thing's like 9,000 pounds. Let me see if I can get in on this. I gotta be strong though. I can even smell it. It smells like smoked pig. Big people gotta play too. Alright, let me pull out my notes. We're gonna talk about Tai Lopez. So, some of you know I analyze handwriting. I see people, in this case on YouTube, and they're talking about success in life, how to be successful, mentors, knowledge is power. Everything sounds good, and of course you could sit there and go, yeah, all that stuff makes sense. But when I see him write, I see a different person, someone who's striving to have some of those things, the good life. This is what I found analyzing him through graphology, which is the study of handwriting analysis, brain writing. Once you learn to write, you tweak it, and your subconscious adds traits to it. People with those same traits have similar personalities to a certain extent. It's about 80% accurate. Sometimes I find I'm more accurate than that. So Tai Lopez has some problems. When he writes, he slopes downward. And I'll show some examples of this. People that slope downward are negative people. It's also the first sign of depression that I see in his writing. So I'm like, when he writes, and it's not just one time, I've seen it several times in his writing. So I see someone that is negative and the first sign of depression. When you start hitting towards suicide, I'm looking for multiple negative points in someone's writing to be like, man, this guy might be suicidal. Unless they have an obvious suicidal trait. But other times it's like, you start looking for combinations of things, you know, negative, sad, and so forth. And so you start compiling these traits and you're like, man, if he's got like 3 of these, the guy might be suicidal. Now I'm not saying he's suicidal, but he does have a couple traits. But he has Xing in his writing. So this is where, when you're writing, lines cross. So it could be the letter B, it could be the letter T, like a capital letter T. But there's crossing where they should come to a point, they cross. And so subconsciously, it's an eliminating factor. So he has Xing in his writing, which is like a resentment, frustration, an eliminating factor. He also does it in an area which he's trying to not be, he's hiding or trying not to be noticed in something. So you're like, huh, but yet he's in the limelight. So I see things that I'm like, man, it doesn't make sense. In one of his writings, he shows, and this is in the letter Y, he shows resentment towards a sexual partner. So there's a woman out there that he's been with that he does not like. He can't get over, chip on his shoulder towards this. Well, I'm assuming it's a woman. Could be anybody. Okay, he also has something called a maniac D, which means in an extreme emotional situation, he loses control. I highly advise that a person with this trait don't drink too much. For the most part, he maintains a lot of control, but it has to be an extreme, like a girlfriend breakup, death of a loved one, something to push him over the edge for that. but alcohol does it. One kid I spotted it in, I'm like, dude, you got this Maniac D. He had some family problems. The kid went AWOL. So like, the trait works. But these are the people that have the high-speed chases on the freeway from a lover breakup, punch holes in the wall. So far in his writing, I haven't seen a lot of it, but I'm basing it off, maybe 20 words here. 20% of what I see is he's a control freak. So if you were dating him, he'd be like, hey, where you at? Kind of keeping a thumb on you. There's another trait of depression. The letter O represents your mouth. Mouth is round, O is round. When the O at the top is open, the person talks a lot. Super simple trait. I don't know why your subconscious knows the letter O is your mouth. It just does. He's also secretive in some cases. 50% of his writing, it could be 45, 50, but it's right about in there. He's a selective listener. So if you or I on the street went to talk to him, he would probably be like, yeah, whatever. Unless you are someone important to him, he does not care what you have to say. Numbers. Numbers represent money, counting, things of that nature. And his numbers are fairly unique to me. His zeros are slightly twisted, almost like an 8, and they look like the number 6. So what this means to a person that analyzes, you're allowed to tweak your handwriting and be sloppy or creative as you want. But when it comes to numbers, our society says that they have to be perfect. A 6 needs to look like a 6. So if your 0 starts looking like a 6 or an 8 or is triangular and not round, not just the number 0, but any number that might not look right. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is I wouldn't trust him with my wallet. I wouldn't trust him with my money. I wouldn't let him manage my money because you're dealing with someone that is dishonest with money. So I find it interesting you get all this how to be successful advice, and yet he's probably screwed a few people over with money. And you'll see this when people that write checks. They could be like $699, and the person doesn't want to give you $699, and the 9s start looking like zeros in hopes that the bank makes a mistake, and miraculously you only were able to deposit $600 instead of $699. He has resentment to authority. He does show one sign of abuse. I only spotted it once. I don't know the details of it, but there is a signal that there's some hardship in his life in the past. But anyway, it just happened once. I don't have a pattern to like, got him. I don't have a pattern, but there is one hint of abuse in his writing. Ooh, he's defiant. And this is found in the letter K. So he's defiant, and we call them go to hell Ks. So basically, you want them to do something, and they go, yeah, no problem, I got you. But in their mind, they're saying, go to hell. I'm going to do it my way. Unsatisfied. There's a few spots in this writing that state that he's unsatisfied with his material possessions, sexually, the good life. There it is. So, anyway, it seems like more he's on a pursuit to find his own happiness. I see two people. This is why I bring it up. Stubborn. Yep, Tai's very stubborn and defiant. Hey, but this does not mean you can't be successful. Doesn't matter who you are. You could be successful no matter how jacked up you are. But what I am saying is the person on TV, there's some people out there that are haters on him. And I don't hate Tai, I don't even know him. I just see he's preaching one thing and I'll be like, okay, the stuff he's preaching sounds good, but his body language, I'm like, man, I smell a rat. And so what I see is two different people. The guy on camera and who he really is, there's a disconnect. And some of you have seen that and you just can't put your finger on it. Well, using graphology, I can see into his mind to a certain extent. I can't tell what car he drives or what cereal he likes for breakfast, but I could see someone that is looking for happiness, someone that is on that search. Because if he had found those things, I wouldn't be seeing it. It would be different. I would see happiness. I would see those things. But I see someone that is sad. And maybe he has a depression problem and he's working on it, or he's always known it, or maybe takes meds. I don't know. I don't know him. But what I do see is someone that has some depression. Anyway, enough on Tai Lopez. This just gives you another perspective on who he is. And thank you, Tai, for writing on that no board. Now I gotta edit this madness and cut it down because I'm sure, what am I, 18 minutes? Man, this will be like 5 minutes when we're done, maybe 10.